Hello. Welcome to the May 2020 CU Boulder Humanities Program virtual graduation. My name is Oliver Gerland. I use the pronouns he, him, and his. I am an associate professor of theater and a member of the humanities faculty who is currently serving as interim program director. I will serve as the master of ceremonies for our celebration. It comes in three parts. First, introductions and thanks. Second, faculty appreciations of individual students. Third, some concluding remarks by me to wrap up and to look ahead. The whole video is around 25 minutes long. I'll begin by speaking to parents, grandparents, and other family members about what graduating students accomplished by earning a Bachelor of Arts in the Humanities Program. First, a bit of nomenclature. The Humanities Program is one of other humanities departments in the College of Arts and Sciences. On the slide, you see the word humanities with a small h. With a small h like that, the word humanities refers to the study of human expression, whether it be written or spoken or embodied or projected or turned into an artful object. You can find this kind of work going on in Germanic and Slavic languages and literatures, in Asian languages and civilizations, in the Department of History, in the Department of English, in the Department of Classics, and many others. If you're interested in the study of human expression, then you are a humanities buff. The humanities program with a capital H, like this, sort of sits in the middle of the other humanities disciplines and has the job of bringing them together. In other words, the humanities program is an interdisciplinary program. You can see that in our faculty, with members rostered in religious studies and film and philosophy and English and theater and dance and so on. You also can see the interdisciplinary nature of the program in the design of the major. A humanities Bachelor of Arts is unique among other humanities BA degree programs. For one thing, it requires a much larger number of credits than is typical, 60 hours in total. That's about twice what is required in comparable humanities departments, which means that a humanities degree is basically a double major, except that half of those required hours are split between two other departments. It's hard to conceive, right? Imagine that a humanities degree is a tree with a main trunk and two branches. The whole tree is 60 hours. The trunk of the tree is 30 hours taken in humanities courses. The other 30 hours are divided between two branches with coursework taken in two other disciplines. 18 in one, that's the primary branch, and 12 in the other, that's the secondary branch. Humanities is an interdisciplinary major because it requires students to move between and among these various branches of knowledge. To do so requires a lot of initiative, free choice, and self-management on the part of students. They choose what their primary and secondary areas of study will be, meaning that half of their required coursework is up to them. They could be a humanities major with a primary area in psychology and a secondary area in political science, or in art history and human geography, or classics and creative writing. If you don't know already, you should ask your graduate about their primary and secondary areas of study, why they chose them, and what they discovered moving between them. Now, to be successful in this degree program, students must prove themselves independently capable. It is not easy to graduate with a Bachelor of Arts degree. It is twice as hard to graduate with a double major. And it's even harder than that when that second major is split between two departments and it is the student's own responsibility to keep track of course prerequisites and scheduling. Now I speak to the graduates. Understand that you did this. Your humanities degree amounts to a double major where the second major was an extended, interdisciplinary, independent study in fields that you chose with coursework that you managed. It is a very impressive academic achievement. To have achieved it is to be impressive. Congratulations. Now, Graduates, please join me in thanking the people who helped to make your achievement possible. First, let's thank your family and friends who supported you both financially and emotionally through it all. Next, let's thank the people of the Humanities Program who form the branches, the trunk, the base, and the roots of the tree that you just climbed. By roots, I mean our donors. These are individuals, many of them alumni, who take some of their hard-earned money and donate it to the Humanities Program to help us advance our mission. Some of these gifts go to the Humanities Program Fund, where they help to defray the costs of special events and community gatherings. Thanks to them all for their contributions to the Humanities Gift Fund. Sometimes donors will target funds that directly support students in the form of scholarships. In 2019 and 2020, the Humanities Program was very fortunate to receive several gifts of this kind. In particular, I would like to thank our dear former Humanities Program colleague, Dr. Shirley Carnahan, who founded and funded the Carnahan and McCollum Scholarship. Please join me in thanking these donors for their direct support of students in the program. Next, I'd like to thank our Humanities staff member, Ellen Napodano. Ellen is the program assistant for Humanities, ensuring that classes are scheduled, that rooms are secured, that faculty and teaching assistants are paid, and many more necessary but unseen items that enable the program to function. More than that, as you see from the picture, Ellen is a person full of light. She has shared her wisdom and counsel with me during my time as director of the Humanities Program, and I know that she will do the same with the next director, Professor David Ferris. Ellen is the base of the Humanities Program tree. Thank you, Ellen. Next, please join me in thanking the Humanities Program faculty members who formed the trunk and some of the branches of the tree of the Humanities Program. They taught you and talked with you and got to know you and maybe even inspired you. We will meet some of these wonderful people face-to-face shortly, but I want to be sure that we include everyone. So here I name Humanities Program faculty members who taught humanities courses in 2019 and 2020. Professor David Ferris, Professor Paul Gordon, Professor Jeffrey Cox, Professor Brian Catlos, Professor Saranjan Ganguly, Professor Graham Oddie, Assistant Professor Elika Ortega, Senior Instructor Julia Bernardini, Instructor Dr. Anjanette Weiss, who also serves brilliantly as the Assistant Director for Undergraduate Studies, Dr. Audrey Burba, and Dr. Andrew Gilbert. Please join me in thanking the Humanities Program faculty for their work this year. Okay, we are now ready to move to the next stage in our ceremony, faculty appreciations of individual graduates. The graduates are, in alphabetical order by last name, Anna Hamilton, Elizabeth Oberg, Remy Panogas, Joseph Tressler, Maxwell James Van Buskirk. I'll now turn the screen over to Dr. Audrey Burba.
Hello, I'm Dr. Burba. I've been with the Humanities Program at CU Boulder for almost 4 years now. And today it's my great pleasure to honor our graduating senior, Anna Hamilton. I met Anna this semester in a special topics course called Making Meaning. And from the moment that Anna walked into my classroom, I could tell that this was not just about a grade for her. Anna was there, and I think more broadly has been at CU Boulder to truly experience what this university has to offer intellectually. Anna was a wonderful, outstanding student. She is a very perceptive and thoughtful reader of literature. She's also a very funny writer. She has a true, authentic, and original voice that came through in everything that she wrote for me this semester. She will make a very fine representative for CU wherever she goes next. Anna, it was a pleasure to have you in class. It was a pleasure to meet you, and it was a pleasure to teach you. Congratulations. This is a huge accomplishment.
My name is Angie Weiss, and I would like to say a few words about Elizabeth Oberg. I've known Elizabeth throughout her time at CU, and I had the pleasure of having her in my course on consciousness this semester. Elizabeth is an ideal humanities major. She has more interests than we can count, and I know this because her degrees kept growing as we discussed her progress toward graduation. She has a double major in humanities and art history, and she has minors in classics and anthropology, so it's obvious that she has made full and wonderful use of her time here. But it's not just degrees she seeks. They are the products of her great enthusiasm for the arts and what we can learn from them. She has navigated her different studies with intelligence and grace. Her ability to connect diverse ideas in meaningful ways shows how both creative and rigorous her focus is. Her work is excellent, and it shows not just how mature and perceptive she is, but also how much she cares about her studies and the world. It has been a genuine pleasure seeing her grow as a student these past few years, and I know that she will go on to do wonderful things. I also hope that she'll keep in touch as she does. Congratulations, Elizabeth. We'll miss you.
Hello, my name is Andrew Gilbert, and I've been teaching with humanities since 2017, a few years now. And I just want to talk and appreciate a little bit Remy Panagos. And Remy is, Remy's amazing. I had Remy in a couple classes now, one of my intro classes as well as my avatars class, which requires a lot of self-introspection and a lot of existential angst. And not only was I impressed with Remy's ability to deal with that sort of existential crisis that I accidentally put my students through sometimes, he remained curious through the entire process. It wasn't simply learning information and thinking about philosophy, but it was him constantly questioning and constantly refining what he thought and what he believed, which is awesome. And Remy, you can take that skill more almost than anything I taught you in this semester. You can take that skill of curiosity into the rest of your career, into the rest of your life. And I hope you never lose it, because that's absolutely one of the things I appreciate most about you. So congratulations on the graduation. Absolutely, you deserve it. And I'm super excited to welcome you into the rest of the world. Yay! Awesome.
Hello, my name is Julia Bernardini. I am an instructor in the Humanities Program, where I teach, among other classes, Introduction to Humanities, Art and Music 1 and 2. And it's in the context of that class that I got to know Joseph, aka Joey Tressler. And I'd like to say a couple of words of congratulations to you, Joey, because it was a real pleasure working with you. It was so interesting to see that such a quiet and thoughtful young man ended up having so much to share with the class, and that we all benefited from you being in our class. I can say this for myself for sure, and I know that I can say this also on behalf of my colleague who taught the music portion of that class, that when you shared your questions and your observations with us, not only did we benefit from it, but so did all of your classmates. So I was all the more excited, and I should say not particularly surprised to learn that your two areas of emphasis are music and ethnic studies, because they speak of your profound interest in cultural production, being a part of it, as well as studying it, and the human experience as well. And so congratulations again to you. We're very, very happy for you, at the same time that we're really, really sorry to see you go. Well done! Yay!
Hello, everyone. My name is Paul Gordon, professor in the Humanities Program. I've been asked to say something about one of my favorite students, Maxwell James Van Buskirk. How I love saying that name. In fact, as Maxwell knows, every day I would start class by reveling in reading his name, enunciating each of the 6 syllables with a mixture of fun and seriousness. And this combination is how I remember Max, who always had a twinkle in his eyes and was a great addition to the classes we had together. Max's work grew steadily before my eyes as he came to join the upper echelon of brilliant students in the Humanities Program. It's fortunate that our small program continues to attract such wonderful students as Max, for otherwise losing students like him would be too sad. Well, our loss is the world's gain. So Max, let me congratulate you and wish you all the best. Stay in touch.
Thank you, colleagues, for those warm appreciations of your students. To the graduates, we say, congratulations. We now enter the third part of the program. I would like to offer a few thoughts about next steps for the graduates. Graduation is sometimes called commencement, meaning the start of something new. What is the new world that you will enter? How do you deal with this new world, whatever it is? Pondering this question, I remembered a magnet on my refrigerator. Here it is. It's a quote from John Paul Getty. He was a very wealthy oil man and also a huge patron of the arts, founder of the Getty Museum in Los Angeles. It says, "In times of rapid change, experience could be your worst enemy." What does it mean? Well, the first thing I notice is the modal verb could be. I think that's a canny word choice. Could be meaning conditional possibility. If you are talking about times of rapid change, then really about all that you can say is it could be. It could be that experience is your worst enemy. It is not necessarily the case that it will be, but the fact that Getty mentions it means that it very well might be. He seems to be saying, in times of rapid change, be wary of experience. Now, by experience, Getty does not mean old people. He was an old person himself when he said it. Look at this picture. He's not a kid. No, by experience, Getty means the tendency that we all have to look at the past and to say, this is what happened to me. This is my experience. What happened to you in the past is important. It's totally relevant. It has helped to shape you to be the person that you are today. But it is not necessarily the best guide in times of rapid change. In fact, in times of rapid change, experience could be your worst enemy. I like this magnet. I find something very true about what it says, but I wish it said something else. I wish it told me not what could be my worst enemy, but what could be my best friend. In times of rapid change, blank could be your best friend. How would you fill in that blank? Oh, hey, time out. Humanities program assignment. Fill in the blank. In times of rapid change, blank could be your best friend. Discuss amongst yourselves. I'll be back in a minute. Press pause if you'd like. How you doing? Good conversation? Good question. In times of rapid change, blank could be your best friend. I can imagine filling in that blank in a number of ways, but the one that calls to me right now is negative capability. In times of rapid change, negative capability could be your best friend. So, what is negative capability? It is a concept developed more than 200 years ago by the English poet John Keats, as he was attempting to identify the quality that made a really great writer. He said, and at once it struck me, what quality went to form a figure of achievement, especially in literature, and which Shakespeare possessed so enormously. I mean, negative capability. That is, when one is capable of being in uncertainties, mysteries, doubts, without any irritable reaching after fact and reason. For Keats, being in uncertainty, mystery, and doubt is a good thing. Great writers have an ability to hang out in this space because it enables them to apprehend something deeper than fact and reason. He continues, this idea of negative capability pursued through volumes would perhaps take us no further than this, that with a great poet, the sense of beauty overcomes every other consideration, or rather obliterates all consideration. We live in unprecedented times during the COVID-19 pandemic. Right now, we are all in a place of uncertainty, mystery, and doubt. Keats invites us to hang out in that space, not to run away from it, because it opens a door to something new and important. He identifies that new important thing as beauty, but it doesn't have to be beauty for you. The point is that negative capability is part of a two-step process. First, being in uncertainty, mystery, and doubt, then discovering something new and important, which, if you think about it, is how it has to be. If you know everything already, then you cannot discover something new. To discover something new means that you have been in a state of not knowing and have passed through it. Uncertainty, mystery, and doubt are three walls in the waiting room of discovery. So let's return to the exercise. I am filling in the blank. In times of rapid change, negative capability, meaning the ability to hang out in a state of uncertainty, mystery, and doubt, could be your best friend. Why? Because such a state gives access to something new and important. I don't know what new and important thing you will discover at the end of our current period of uncertainty, mystery, and doubt, but I'll end by giving you an image of it. That's a picture of the Flatirons. You know the Flatirons. Being on campus, you see them every day. But what are the Flatirons? How were they formed? Hundreds of millions of years ago, there was another set of mountains where the Rocky Mountains now stand. Water pouring down from these ancestral Rockies carried sand and gravel that was deposited where the land turned flat in what is now Boulder. That sand and gravel eventually hardened into huge slabs of sediment. And when the modern Rocky Mountains began to uplift 80 million years ago, those sedimentary slabs were tilted up and broke apart, creating the Flatirons. A picture of the Flatirons like this is a snapshot of geological change. The old Rocky Mountains, bits of which compose the Flatirons, being disrupted and uplifted by the new Rocky Mountains. Imagine yourself a creature with an impossibly long lifespan residing on one of those sedimentary slabs. One day, it's flat. The next day, the new Rocky Mountains begin to lift and you notice a bit of a tilt. The day after that, your neighbor, who used to be next door, is in quarantine down the block. The day after that, the slope has become so steep that you need to hang on to the rock for dear life. That's how it feels for us right now. It feels like the earth has dropped from our feet and that we're being launched into a future of rapid change. We have to be careful about relying on experience to navigate these unprecedented times. We live in uncertainty, mystery, and doubt. Keats invites us to take comfort in that uncomfortable space because it opens the way to discovery of some other new and important thing. Like that long-lived creature on the ancestral rocky slab. One day it is hanging on to the rock for dear life. The next day it climbs to the top of the Flatiron and sitting there, looking out across the Colorado plain, it swears, "I can almost see Kansas." There's nothing wrong with Kansas, but I hope that you discover something even greater. And let us know about it. Please stay in touch. We invite you to return to campus for an in-person Humanities Program commencement ceremony scheduled for May 2021. May you, your family, and your friends find peace in these unsettled times. Congratulations, graduates.